We have Sheriff Mark Dannels of Cochise County, Arizona, and former ICE Chief of Staff Jason Hauser. I really appreciate both of your perspectives in on this conversation. Jason, I want to start with you. We were just hearing from NewsNation's Jorge Ventura telling us about the Trump administration scaling back arrests on farms, in hotels and restaurants. What are your thoughts and why now?
Thank you for having me. I mean, if the reporting is accurate, it's clearly a very large pivot very quickly on the short period of time that the administration has been in the White House. Clearly the sort of policies of mass arrests, targeting non-criminals, shifting to quotas arrests is something that's not in our community's interest. It's not in the interest of our economy, and it's not in the interest of public safety. So, you can see the pushback happening to the White House from the business community, the agricultural community, and that's why you see these things happening. But my concern are really two things. One, we have a situation here where, the White House on immigration sometimes doesn't know what the policy-making left hand is doing. It's not communicating with the Twitter controlling the right hand. And I think that is a big problem here. I think that the gains that we've made over the last couple of years and the last 6 to 12 months on border security and the flow to the southern border should be applauded. What we have here has been about 120 days of attacking our communities and sort of going after those that were here legally. They've been screened, they've been vetted, they were seeking pathways to work hard and join our communities. And nowhere is sort of immigration enforcement quotas adequate, and it doesn't meet our public safety needs.
Okay, so Sheriff Dannels, I want to bring you in here. Does the pausing or the lessening of raids and arrests, on farms and hotels and restaurants signify that these protests are working, that the Trump administration is making concessions to protesters?
I can't say that's true, or maybe it is, Tasha. I will say this, though. As we all sit back and we watch this, we give our opinions on your show and many others, and Congress. Where is Congress in this? This is something that's been discussed for years. I've testified in front of Congress numerous times. And the pinch of all this is local law enforcement, state law enforcement, our federal agents trying to do the best job they can. Congress needs to quit playing Monday night quarterback and fix the problem, working with President Trump. We need to get some good immigration laws and fix them the way they need to be fixed.
Jason, I see you nodding there. With the time we have, I want to ask, the Trump administration began all of this, the mass deportation initiative, by saying it is going to focus mainly on criminals and the worst of the worst, in the president's words. Do you agree that they focused on the worst of the worst thus far?
There's 1.5 million individuals with final orders of removal that ICE should be focused on. Additionally, within that, they should be focused on those that have criminal convictions and are public safety threats. Over the last 3 weeks, we've seen ICE being directed by the White House to go into children's playgrounds and into restaurants and create these sort of fear tactics. That's not at all what should be happening. But clearly, I worry that even with this slight pivot, that it is sort of like saying to ICE that don't go into farms or restaurants, but these migrants still live within the communities. Their children still go to school. Will the individuals be targeted because they're already checking in, they're complying? We know where they live. And to hit just these sort of mass quotas, in this political theater, is not what we need. And we need to be focused on those that want to hurt our communities and take advantage of our broken immigration system, as the sheriff said.
Sheriff Dannels, I want to get your take and give you the floor here as we're wrapping up, and also just ask you, NewsNation has been tracking the anti-ICE protests in communities all across the country. I'm curious, how would you characterize your community's stance on the ongoing ICE raids? What are people telling you?
Well, we went through 4 years of one of the worst times on our border. When we opened them up on the previous administration, we had record numbers coming across. So to see some relief come from the White House is positive for this community, because we don't need to go back where we were. At the end of the day, we had protests yesterday, but they were very peaceful, no significant events. What we see in the urban communities where the problem begins, those mayors, those state governors, the White House, Congress, and your sheriffs and other elected officials need to come together, take the politics out of it, put America first.
Sheriff Mark Dannels of Cochise County, Arizona, and former ICE Chief of Staff Jason Hauser, thank you both. Appreciate your time.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.